Brando's Garage, Steve Brandy on 1340 WJOL, and former Lockport Township High School student Kyle Cogan. And Kyle, class of 2008, right?
Yes, that's right.
All right, we got you on here. Now, you might not like hearing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Your story reminds me of Greg Brady, and yes, I'm a Brady Bunch guy. I'm a stuck in the 70s guy, but the one episode of the Brady Bunch where Greg Brady's playing high school football, and he gets injured. In his case, it was a really bad rib injury, had to quit the team, and he ends up being the team photographer and does a pretty good job of it. Now, in your case, you played for Lockport Township High School, played for the Porters, and had a couple of concussions, I believe, and we all know what a serious issue that is getting as far as exposure these days. You were playing back, what, in the 2005, 2006 seasons when you were a sophomore and junior, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And back then, things were really rolling for the program. They had the back-to-back championships in '02 and '03, and Coach Coy's program was still going so strong. And that must have been, you couldn't stay there the whole time, but that must have been great for you being part of that program.
Oh, yeah, it was definitely a great experience, to play under Coach Coy and all those guys. It was great.
Now, you were a linebacker, I think, right?
I was, yes.
Yeah, I remember being on the sidelines, I think, calling in some live reports on some of the games when you were playing. Now, what happened? You got hurt a couple of times in practice or during games?
It's kind of a long story, but basically, I made a big hit in practice, and then it was a series of 10 days where the head injury eventually kept getting worse and worse as I kept playing on it. And I didn't tell anybody about it, because it's football, you play through the pain and all that stuff, and I was just making the injury worse and worse as it went on. And I was lucky, I had subdermal hematoma where, my brain was bleeding and all kinds of crazy stuff like that. And I was lucky to live through it, to be honest with you. Yeah.
When did you realize you really had a problem? While you were in class, while you were at home? Did you faint? Did you become lightheaded? What happened?
Well, that's the thing too. Is I was acting pretty normal, and I kept making up all these excuses. My vision was blurry, but it was actually clear when my contacts were out because the blood was pushing pressure on my eye and my brain, forcing it to concentrate. I had all these headaches all the time, and I was blaming it on allergies and swimming class and school and stuff like that. Really stupid stuff looking back at it now. But yeah, there was all kinds of signs there, and I was too stupid, too young of a kid to realize what was going on.
Okay, so your parents, a teammate, a coach, who finally looked you in the eye and said, "Hey, we have a problem here"?
Well, like I said, it took a series of 10 days. I got hurt on a Wednesday, and then we do our walkthroughs on Thursdays, and then on a Friday I played a full game. And it's not that I didn't play bad, or it's not that I didn't make any big hits or anything, but it was just one of those games where everything was rolling for us, and we went up by 2 or 3 touchdowns, and they took all the starters out. So I didn't really make any big hits, but I remember just in the huddle after the team meeting after the game, not remembering what happened, being the first one into the locker room, and I felt like I was in slow motion taking everything out. And that's when they realized something was wrong there. So then they sat me out the week. I went through all the concussion tests, and I passed them all because it was it would just ask me what colors or what, and math problems and stuff like that. It's really easy stuff. And then I actually played the next Friday against Linkaway Central, I think it was. And basically, I went for a fumble recovery, and I hit heads with my own teammate. And then from there, it was the worst pain in my life. I guess that's when the blood started rushing out even more, and I blacked out, and that was the end of that. And then I was airlifted to Loyola and all that good stuff. So
okay, so you blacked out on the field. You were airlifted to Loyola, and then they found the problem. Now this, Kyle, only happened a few years ago, and you did what so many kids did back then. They kept it to themselves. They want to play through it. They want to stay part of the team. They gave you some what was notified as concussion tests at the time. How important is it to you that this issue has gotten so much publicity over just the last couple of years? You're probably thinking, man, oh man, thank God we're finally learning more about this.
Exactly. exactly. I mean, and I don't really blame anybody. I mean, the fact now that the equipment that these kids are wearing, like they have the Revolution helmets and all these helmets that are great and they protect your body. But the thing is that they protect you so well is that when you have someone that's willing to put their body on the line and hit someone as hard as they possibly can for the team, for the game, you're the helmet and the shoulder pads, they become almost like a weapon. And not to mention, the kids are getting bigger, they're getting stronger, they're getting faster, and they're not going to feel the impact that their head that they're putting on their bodies right away. Like I said, I felt fine, just a little woozy and stuff like that. But what I was really doing was shaking my brain as violently as like a car crash. I was going through car crashes like every day. You know what I mean? And it's great that they're finally realizing that they need to watch out for this stuff, because I've read after my injury, I read numerous stories where it was like the exact same story as mine, except they got one more hit and they were like dead on spot. So it's absolutely insane. And I remember even just being in the hospital, and they were saying it was like a 50-50 chance. Just they didn't really know too much about it, but there was like a 50-50 chance. And if I wasn't in such good shape from being football, from being in the middle of the season, I wouldn't have made it to the night. That's just insane to me, and it's all for a game. But I don't blame the coaches. I don't blame anybody. But it's something that we have to make aware, and it's great with the NFL and all that it's doing now too.
Oh, you better believe it. Let's go back to what happened next to you. You survive, you get back to school, everybody's glad you're okay, and you must have gone to Coach Coy and said, look, I want to stay part of the team. What can I do? And you end up being the team photog, or did it happen that quickly?
Well, actually, believe it or not, I got, after 6 months or whatever of, because I had to be bed rest and all this stuff. I couldn't even lift weights, so I got really out of shape and everything. But I wanted to still play at this point of my junior year. I was still crazy enough to still want to play. So I got back in shape, did all kinds of extra training, and I actually was preparing to play for the varsity season. And then I got one more concussion in a practice, and that's when I was like, this is stupid. This is enough. And it wasn't even that hard of a hit. So then from there, it was just devastating for me to have to watch all the kids I grew up with and what I was training for the past 10 years to just be taken away by something that I had no control over. And I still wanted to be around, all those guys and want to be a part of it. And they, like they always do, they have whoever's injured, films the game up top, and they had me do that for the beginning of the season. And then they thought I was doing such a great job. That they actually hired me to do it for the rest of the season. So they normally had a guy that they would pay or whatever. So they thought I was doing such a good job that they hired me to do it. And then the next season, my senior season, they offered me money to do it again, to record the whole thing and to be there for every game and everything like that. But I turned it down actually because, like I said, it was miserable for me. Being up on the porch, or on the perch on the top of the announcer's booth, watching all my friends doing what I wanted to do so bad. So what I did instead is I went out, bought my own camera, and I decided to make a documentary on all my friends and their last season playing football.
Now, that's an amazing story. So you're hurt during your sophomore year. You try again your junior year. You realize you're susceptible concussions. You have to quit the game. You're the team photog your junior year. Your senior year, they ask you to do it again. You really didn't want to because it hurt too much. But then you say, hold it. I'm going to make my own film. I enjoyed the filming part, and that must have been where you realized, you know what? I could make a living doing this.
I mean, it wasn't right away that I realized it, but I just had to keep my mind off something. It was a win-win. I got to keep my head straight and get me through the football season. But in the end, I also was able to make something for my teammates and some of my best friends. That they'll have forever. I got all kinds. I had 2 angles of cameras on every single play of the whole year. So close-ups and wide shots, which is crazy for high school football.
Well, has anybody seen this, your documentary of what would have been the 2007 Lockport season? Has it been released? Who's seen this thing?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. it's funny now because it's been so long, but it's on YouTube. It's called "It's Time Lockport Porters." If you type that in, you'll find it. There's 4 different parts to it. It's just basically a big highlight, documentary of their season in 2007, and but yeah, that's how it all kind of started for me to getting into television and film and all that stuff.
So you end up at Columbia College, and you've got all the hands-on opportunities there like I had at Illinois State, and you have already won an Emmy Award as well as a Student Emmy Award, but I think a regular Emmy. Now, what happened? You got there, you learned how to do more than just shoot film. What in the world happened?
I don't know. I kind of just took, my passion for football and sports my whole life and just applied it to something that I could, do without having to be athletic or whatever. And what I did is, I got an internship at this place called JBTV. This is a whole other story in itself. But I got an internship at JBTV. They thought I had a good idea in one of the meetings as an intern, and they actually they hired me on to do the intro for the show. That's not it premiered. It's on NBC nonstop, Chicago 5.2. And what happened is they had me shoot, direct, and create the intro for the show. And what happened with that is it got submitted for an Emmy, got nominated. I couldn't believe it, and then somehow won. I think don't quote me on this, but I think me and my friend Marty, who worked on it, who's also a student, Marty Kane, we're the first Columbia students to ever win a professional Emmy, which is pretty crazy.
Now, this was a film, an educational film. People watching it, what would they learn?
Oh, it's not an educational film. What I won the Emmy for, it was an animation. It was an intro for the show. The show JBTV. It's about rock music in Chicago.
So an introduction, you say, for the show?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
All right. Well, hey, that is great. So you've already got that on your resume. So what has that done for you? You probably met some great people.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy where it gets you. You know what I mean? Like I just actually came from a meeting with one of my longtime heroes, Brandy from the Lawrence Arms. I'm working on he's in a punk rock band. We got a bunch of guys together working on this movie that he's bringing down to South by Southwest and all that stuff. And it's just crazy for me that through JBTV and through winning the Emmy that I get to work on his film as well as just this past weekend I shot a music video for a band called The Frantic, who's also from the Lockport area.
You know, you and I have something in common, Kyle, our passion for sports, our passion for music. I've been able to do a little of both in my career as a broadcaster. So what you would love to do, I could see you doing 2 things. You're making all kinds of great videos for MTV like they used to, of course, or maybe you could be working for Steve Sable with NFL Film, shooting on the sideline. I mean, you got one thing or another you'd love to do someday?
Oh, I mean, what you nailed it right there. I mean, there's a lot of things I want to do, and they all involve music and sports and animation. If I can combine those 3 somehow, that'd be a dream somehow. I don't know.
Well, when you talk about animation, I mean, old-time cartoons are different than computer animation that we see now. Describe modern animation. What is it?
Well, when I say animation, it's kind of a loose term. I would say it's more motion graphics, motion design, basically anything you see on TV nowadays that's not real, like big text. Motion graphics comes from those big, opening intro titles with the fancy text and everything to, cars blowing up and and anything that really didn't happen on film or that you could add to it. That's actually what I'm majoring in.
Well, and that's half of what you see on TV today. You're watching an NFL game. That yellow line, they don't see it there, but we see it on TV. Or the intro to any sports event. The letters look so modern compared to the old days, ABC Wide World of Sports. So these new innovations in how that looks, you're going to come up with some ideas, right?
I hope so, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Now, wait a minute. You're going to graduate from Columbia, what is it, in 2012 or what?
Yeah, trying to get out a little early, but maybe this winter, maybe next fall. we'll find out.
Hey, listen, let me give you some advice. I did the same thing. I was lucky enough to graduate from Illinois State in 3.5 years, and let me tell you, that gives you a jump on the job market like you wouldn't believe. So if it's possible, do it. I'd love to see you do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. So I just got to get these couple classes out of the way.
Yeah, it saves your family a little money, too, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And that's always important. Kyle Cogan, hey, what a great story. Hey, you keep in touch with us, my man. I want to hear what you're doing in 10 years, and this has been a great time, and best of luck your rest of your time at Columbia, and I'll just say it for you. Go Porters.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Could I give a little plug to my website so people can check out some stuff?
You bet. Go ahead.
You can check out any of my motion design work that I talked about, including like the stuff that I won the Emmys for. It's KyleCogan.com. That's KyleCogan.com. And then also a bunch of buddies of mine. We have a sketch comedy group called Panda Burger, and that's PandaBurgerTV.com. Check that out, too.
You better believe it. Kyle Cogan, a graduate of Lockport Township High School in 2008, and already, in the words of the Grateful Dead, what a long, strange trip it's been. Hey, happy trails to you. Hey, we'll talk to you again soon, all right?
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Steve Brandy, Brando's Garage, 1340 WJOL, Will County's News Talk Sports. We'll have more after this.